Welcome back, guys. Thanks for those that stuck it out through the break. Let's talk about Star Wars. I think me and Ella have touched it. It's pretty much the same thing in the beta. So if you've played the beta, you've played Star Wars. But Ella, let's jump into it. How much did you play last night?
Oh, none. I played
None.
none.
Oh, you didn't get into it?
No, I've been having some weird power issues in my office, and they've always kind of been like a little minor thing that has popped up every now and then. Well, this morning, stuff wasn't powering up properly. So I actually had to go in the morning, and I went to Best Buy and got a nice new power strip.
Nice.
And it seems to have fixed. This was kind of like a trial and error, like if I was going to stay live or not here.
Yeah.
So it's working so far, and everything's powered up. So I assume it was my power strip. So I didn't get a chance to touch it yet.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, but I did play the beta like a crap ton.
Yeah.
But
and it's pretty much the same thing. This is
what's new? What's new from like what do you like most about the game from the beta now playing the new game? Like everything's released, like the star fighting and all that, and the hero fights or whatever. Like, what is your go-to?
I mean, I guess my go-to mode for fun factor would probably be heroes versus villains. So it's 3v3, Rebels versus Alliance, and there's you have Palpatine, Vader, Boba Fett versus Han, Luke, and Leia. And then you have 3 other people that are playing normals, just normal guys, and they can. Each hero has like 3 different abilities, and for Palpatine and Leia, you can spawn as like honor guard if they're in the game, and then those people spawn with better weapons, as well as a rocket launcher and a like lock-on missile. And then it's basically whoever kills each other's heroes in full, the 3 of them, then you win that round, and it's first to 5. I think that's probably the most like fleshed out game mode.
Yeah, is that balanced? I was just about to ask because
it's I mean, it's for the most part it's pretty balanced. I think that Leia has a stun lock or a stun ability where you can if like Darth Vader comes in on you, he's obviously a melee hero, same as Luke. If Darth Vader comes in on you, Leia can like whip out her stun, and she can basically stun lock him for 5 to 6 seconds where he just can't do anything.
Wow.
And then if your team's there to focus on him, like they can just light Darth up or whoever immediately. And so that's a little bit OP. But at the same time, like the Empire has Palpatine, who has Chain Lightning and Force Lightning, which is super strong. And that does a lot of damage as well. But I think like also Han has Rapid Fire. So it's basically you can fire his blaster as fast as you can like use pull the trigger. And that's that's really, really strong. But
called semi-auto, JP.
Do what?
It's called semi-auto.
What? No, that's a bad joke. Is it semi-auto?
No, semi-auto is how fast you can pull the trigger.
Okay,
That's
well there you go.
top.
I thought that was a Steven joke from roleplay, but anyways.
No.
Anyways, yeah. It has their HPs are varied enough to where it seems balanced. Obviously, like this game has no esports potential. I would say it's competitive in the sense that it's an arcade game, but it's never going to be more competitive than that. And I think a lot of the complaints that you're seeing, a lot of the reviewers and people on Twitch chat that are just copy and pasting those comments from the reviewers is that the game's a little shallow, and I don't disagree with that. Like, I enjoyed the 20 hours that I played with it, but once you get to level 25, there's no new gun unlocks. There's only 11 guns in the game. There's no attachments for these guns. You literally just unlock the gun, and that's it. And then everything past level 25. I think there might be some new cards, but mostly everything is skin-based, so you can use... like at level 40 to 50 on the Rebel side, you start unlocking the alien races that you can use as a skin. And I think 40, you unlock the Scout Stormtrooper, and 50, you unlock it's the all-black Stormtrooper.
What level are you?
I got up to 21. And it's kind of funny. So the fighter squadron.
You've only played 25 hours?
But so I played 20 hours on Xbox One and got to 25 on that. And then I played 9 hours on PC and got to 21.
So you would exhausted in 9 hours. You almost exhausted all of your upgrades for playing.
Yes, but to be fair, I gamed the system. I power gamed the system to level the fastest possible by doing Fighter Squadron. And that's because in Fighter Squadron, for a 2 to 3 minute game, or probably a 3 to 5 minute game, I was getting like 20,000 points a game. And to put that in perspective, 21 to 22, I think, is 35,000 points. So you can level super, super fast. In other games, you get maybe, on a good game, you'll get about 7,000 max on some of these other modes. And the reason that it's so broken in Fighter Squadron is the hero ships are like godlike. They are, and the Millennium Falcon has an ability where you can shield. And when you shield with the Millennium Falcon, you become invulnerable. So if Slave 1 is flying at you, you just pop your shield, run into him, and you just kill Slave 1 instantly. And you get like 6,000 points for doing that. So I think it's like incredibly fucking broken that exists. I made a video on YouTube about it, showing me just running into Slave 1 the second he spawns with the Millennium Falcon, and he just dies. And there's nothing he can do about it, except not to run into me. I'll try to find, there's a game where I go, here. This is Slave 1 gameplay right here. You can just see how fast I kill things. But there were games where I think like the best I did on Monday night once the game launched, I think I went like 43-0 in a ship, and like the second highest score was like 7-0 or something like that.
So overall, how did it feel? Is this something you can see yourself going back to and playing more? Are you done?
See, there's the 40-0 right there. Nice. I think so. Like, there's not much, like what you're seeing right now in the flight mode is it. There's no unlocks for flight mode. You don't get a better ship, or you don't get to change your loadout on the two ships that you can play as on each side. It's like what you see is what you get. And I think that's where a lot of people have issues with the game, rightfully so, is that it is an old school FPS game in a world where things like Overwatch or things like Paladins or all these other games coming out that are kind of trying to take the FPS genre and doing something more, adding depth to it. And it just doesn't have that much depth. These are all the skins that you can get as the Rebels. They're basically just human cosmetics until you hit 40, which you'll see right here whenever I do get to them. But yeah, like, it's just kind of a shallow game, and I think that's what a lot of people had. But the actual game itself is good. It's just there's not much there other than just rampant killing of people.
Is it fun? Do you have fun with it?
I mean, I put 25 hours into it. I had a lot of fun. I had so much fun that I still can't feel my left finger for whatever reason, because I was on the Xbox One. It cut off blood circulation to the tip of it. So it's just been numb for the past 4 or 5 days. So that's cool.
That's healthy.
Yeah, it's super healthy.
What we do for your Twitch chat.
Yeah. Also,
we lose feeling in our fingers. You should get that checked out.
Yeah, I probably should.
Get that looked at.
If your whole arm starts to go and you start to smell burnt toast, please call 911.
Yeah.
If it's like, it's been slowly cleaning me up to my face.
Oh, we've got another one. Played Star Wars Battlefront.
The reason it did that.
I had to call off a cast because I had a fucking muscle pulled in my hand. I went to the fucking doctor.
The reason it did that is because I was using the Xbox One Elite controller, which I think is probably my favorite thing. This is a huge thing to say, but I think it's probably my favorite thing that I've bought this year. But I had you can adjust the triggers on the back to be half, and I was clenching the controller so tight that it cut off circulation at the tip of my index finger on my left hand.
Wow.
And so like that's why I don't have feeling in it.
I'm telling you right now, when I played the beta, I would get like that too. You would get that adrenaline.
Yeah,
man.
you get into it like, yeah.
It was almost like Rocket League adrenaline. Like
it was
you're just about to hit the ball, you're like,
you're
like all getting excited, then you fuck it all up, or whatever. But
it totally was.
Yeah.
It totally was.
Which, by the way, that brings me back, because I was sort of criticizing the amount of money that went into that controller. Is that the same controller?
Yes, this is the $150 one. Yeah.
And you're still using it, still loving it.
This controller is amazing, like
through
and through.
Okay, cool.
And yes, I spent $150 on it. It's fucking still. I'm not trying to justify my purchase by saying it's awesome. It's a really good controller.
No, and I want it because, again, I pretty much only game on my keyboard and mouse and everything. And I know if you watched last week's, I was asking you about it, and I was kind of going back and forth. But okay, so that's cool, because I'm thinking about buying one.
They're hard to find.
They're really hard to find. They're going for like $500 used on Amazon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Amazon resellers are selling this.
Yeah,
thing.
resellers. Yeah.
Oh, that's.
I will say, I'm looking for one too, Ello. I can't find them anywhere.
I plugged in the. I couldn't get it to work on the PC right away. I found out a way to do it because I don't have Windows 10. I think if you have Windows 10, it just works right away. But you have to basically attach the normal Xbox One drivers by putting that onto your PC and then putting on the other controller and pointing it to those drivers. But
it's wireless with Windows 10.
I don't think so. I think it's still wired.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's wireless. I've been using it wired, so I don't actually know.
Okay.
But going back to the other Xbox, the normal Xbox One controller, the best part about this one is it has like these rubberized grips on this part, And so it just feels really, really good in your hand, whereas all these other ones are like the smooth finish on the back.
Yeah.
And the controllers just feel like shit. But
let me ask you something about Ender.
yeah, let's go back to Star Wars. I'll try to find some Endor.
Of course. Have you played on that? That's the one map that I was really excited to play on. Is it good? Is it like lame? Like in your opinion?
It you remember in the beta where everyone was having issues trying to win on Hoth as the rebels?
Yeah, but eventually we got over that.
Do you remember? Well, do you remember when everyone said it was because it was storyline based, and I was like, no, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard for game balance. It's actually storyline based. Like that's why it's difficult.
So
on
you're having a harder time because due to the lore, the rebels were having a harder time.
On Endor, the rebels have one AT-AT to take down, and there's no flying ships for the Empire, and so it's very hard for rebels to win on that map. Because it was very hard for the rebels, or sorry, it's very hard for Empire to win on the map because it was very hard for they didn't win in the movies, right? So like it is actually lore based.
I don't think they did. That's not how I remember it ending.
That's weird, man.
You're talking about the forest moon of Endor?
Yeah.
With the Ewoks?
The forest moon. Are you discussing in episode 3 the forest moon of Endor?
Let me. I don't think I have
Ewoks?
any.
Are there Ewoks?
Yes,
they're not desert people. They're Tusken Raiders.
There are Ewoks. They are not. You cannot like shoot them, but when you run up, and maybe I can find some footage of it here. When you run up into their tree fort, or like the tree house, which is the second area of this is Xbox One footage, so it's 720p. It's gonna look a little bit grainy compared to like a 1440p PC. I couldn't find that footage. But when you run up there, like the Ewoks will run back in. They'll like fucking go like this and just run as fast as they can back into their hut, and they slam the door. And then there's also Ewoks on like these gliders that glide around in between all the trees. And apparently there's an achievement where randomly in the map they'll throw rocks at you and you can die from them. I haven't seen that happen yet, but I heard someone tweet about that, so I guess that's there. I haven't seen it though.
So how do the speeders feel? Is it janky and like do you run into trees all the time, or is it like really cool and you're like, this is awesome?
Well,
like,
if I'm driving, you run into trees a lot. I feel like they did a good job of like making them feel good, but it's not something you want to be on because it's like you get an immediate target on your back for being on one. And plus they're so fast that it's kind of hard to control. And most of the kills you're going to be getting is just by running over people. The maps aren't long enough to really simulate kind of what that was in the movies, where it's like that fight between the not the footmen, whatever, the stormtroopers and Leia and Luke.
Skins and shirts.
Yeah, exactly. These are the huts right here, by the way, for the Ewoks. Up in the
that looks
houses.
pretty awesome.
There's the flying Ewok as well. Do what?
What now?
There was a flying Ewok right there. What were you saying?
I was just saying everything about the level looks amazing right now.
It does, yeah.
I love the cutscene, like the transitions.
Yeah.
No, I love the transitions when you die. Have you ever noticed that they're like the old school, like
they wipe,
slide screen? Yeah, I love it, man. I absolutely love it.
The one thing that I can
sing the Jub Jub song.
Is there
Jub Jub the celebration song?
I'm trying to think if you hear that, you might hear an Ewok say that as you're running through the trees. I'm trying to think. There's also Jawas on one of the other maps. They're outside of their little like Land Rover thing or whatever the fuck it's called. They run back inside when you get too close, and so there's little Jawas as well.
So one of the things that I loved about the beta was the sounds. Normally, I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh man, the sounds are so great, but in that beta, the sounds were like everything was impeccable. Like everything was amazing. Like everything sounded so Star Wars, and it made you feel like you were in Star Wars. Is that true across all the other levels?
Yeah, 100%. Like
okay,
the sound and the graphics. This could arguably be one of the best looking games of the year, and also runs the best. I was playing at 1440p with Ultra, and I was not dropping below 144 FPS. And for the way this looks, that is a fucking incredible engine. It runs 720p on the Xbox One, but it never dropped below 60 FPS. There was never any hiccuping. And I think on the PS4 it runs 900p. And like this is Xbox One footage, and it still looks really fucking good. Like that, the biggest takeaway for me from that game is just how good and how good it looks and how good it sounds.
Man, I would have gotten into it. I mean, I would have loved to have played if God, I remember someone saying on, I think it was Thursday, that they were going to get a hold of me on Tuesday.
We played 4
Played
hours
as-
yesterday, and that's it.
I don't know. I think someone
I played the
told me
pre-access.
they were going to play with me.
There's an Ewok. I played early access for like 21 hours. So if you didn't have that, like that's where I played the bulk of the game.
And you said you played on Xbox and PC.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so did you see a big difference in your gameplay or any differences between the two?
We were talking about this yesterday when we were playing with a bunch of the guys. I had more fun for my interest and for my sake on the Xbox One, but it was because everyone else was worse than I was at using a controller, so I performed better. When I got on the PC, everyone is obviously a lot better with a mouse and keyboard, and I can't. This game is not. Everything kind of has. I don't know how to. I mean, you played the beta. The blasters have like a projectile distance that they have to cover, so you kind of have to aim for that.
Yeah.
Like aim with a little bit of delay in your shot. You have to lead all your shots. And for me, like that's just it's weird playing with that on the PC for me. But I mean, it feels fine. It's not like that it feels bad. It's just it's in a different way of aiming that I was not quick to learn on the PC in the 4 hours we played yesterday.
Did they change the targeting system at all for the guns, or is it just if you aim, click, you'll shoot pretty much like right there? Like there's no difference between running or not running or aiming down the sights or anything like that. It's all pretty much just.
It's all pretty much the same. Yeah.
Here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, there's different guns that do different things. Like this gun was not in the beta. This is a 5-shot pistol. It just fires 5 lasers like as a burst, and then it stops. And it's super, super effective if you just line up on the head, because it's basically an instant kill if all 5 of those hit. That's you remember in the beta how you had the cycler rifle, which was the instant sniper. This one, the lower level, is a charge up laser sniper that takes like 3 or 4 seconds to charge, but then you can use it, but you can't just hold it down or it'll auto fire. So you kind of have to. It's a little bit different than the cycler rifle. That's the last unlock, and then that's of course the AT-AT going down on the indoor.
That looked good. That looked
yeah,
great.
the game looks. I mean, it looks fucking incredible. But yeah, it's like a lot of people. I think there was a tweet the other day, and I forgot who said it, so I can't give them credit. But they said like this will be a faster drop off than Titanfall had.
I read that
and
too.
I was like, I actually agree
that was
with
Angry
that.
Joe, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Angry Joe. You're
Yeah,
right, Angry Joe
I
show
read that
on
too.
Twitter.
Wait, what about Angry Joe?
He
said that he
Go
tweeted
ahead.
out that it was going to be this game was going to fall faster and harder than Evolve and what was the other one, JP? Titanfall.
And I kind of agree. And then his follow up tweet was like, but the Star Wars movie's going to come out, and this is a great parallel to have as like a game, because it's fun to jump into for 5 to 10 hours, and then after that, you kind of the depth is gone, right? There's nothing. It's a great FPS that doesn't have anything else in it.
They evolved it.
Evolve had
They
more
evolved
strategy in this game. Evolve was.
That is so distressing to hear. I was hoping you guys would be really hyped about Star Wars.
I was too,
really
yeah.
hoping that I would hear like, yeah, I can see myself playing this for a while, and this is awesome. And all I've heard from everyone is that it lacked, just like you said, lacks depth.
Yeah.
It's really cool for like the first 4 or 5 times, and then you're wondering why you're still playing. And that is
hard, man.
Yeah.
really unfortunate. That's
I don't
really
know. I feel like it's really hard for those games to be interesting long term. I
agree.
really do. Like I think that the genre is just not made for that. Maybe. I mean, it takes a very kind of special gamer to sit and do the same maps over and over and over again and not get bored, even when you have unlockable content. Like,
just not to change the subject, but just like real short, like 1-sentence answer. Have either of you, Ello or JP or Zeke, even thought of Overwatch this week?
Yes, I actually played Overwatch on Sunday.
So you guys have been playing? Okay.
I played about 5 hours on Sunday off stream.
That's cool.
haven't
Actually, I saw you
played
tweet about that, didn't? Yeah, I remember that. But just wondering, like, is it the game that makes you feel that way? Could the game be better to increase that longevity, Ello, or is it something about the genre?
Could Overwatch or Battlefront? What do you?
Well, kind of both of them. Like, what makes you think? What made you play Overwatch for 5 hours this week, and why wouldn't you play Star Wars for 5 hours next week? Like,
I think Overwatch just. My answer. I think Overwatch is more fun with friends, and there's a depth to it that as a team grows, like that, the depth of Overwatch is that there's so much team aspect to it that the more people that you have, the more hardcore you can get about how the game is going or how you're doing in the game or what you're doing in the game. With Battlefront, it's still the same game regardless of how many people you're playing.
And I want to make it clear that I don't mean like just the FPS genre. Like I mean a very specific, like this Battlefield, you know, usually large scale team unlockable type of games. You know, like
You think Battlefield 5 will have the same impact?
I think it'll do the same thing that it always does. Like Titanfall and all those games, it's going to be interesting for a couple of weeks, tops, and then we're going to move on to other stuff. I mean, I just don't see how you can make playing the same map over and over and over and over again fun in a large scale kind of unlockable way. Like I don't know. Overwatch to me feels a lot different because it's not as many people. You've got to like kind of like a team, you know, a very close-knit team that are using their abilities in tandem to do certain things. And I agree with JP. It's just a different kind of feel than a lot of these Battlefield or Battlefront or you know, Evolve, that kind of thing.
So it adds like another layer outside of just finding other people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like, how do you have this many people but still give people vastly different abilities, you know, like, and make them all interesting? I mean, it's like, it's really hard to do.
To be honest,
because then everyone's going to be like, "Oh, this is OP, that's OP," you know. And
to be honest, I think Call of Duty, the newest one, and maybe almost everyone, like, they understand that, you know, it's an annual release, and that people, for the most part, are going to drop off. The majority of the audience is going to drop off after a month of playing that, right?
Yeah,
is that safe to say? And so I think that, regardless of not if you enjoy Call of Duty, whichever release it is that you enjoy, like, they kind of understand where the FPS genre is at. And if anything, they're probably doing it better than anyone else. But it's also because they have that annual release where maybe you didn't like last year's, maybe you didn't like Advanced Warfare, but this year maybe you like Black Ops. And they have enough depth in that game in terms of unlockables to keep you wanting to play. Like, the last gun in Battlefront, unlocks at level 25, and you get no new guns. That is kind of insane. And Call of Duty, like, you can be unlocking certain things about a gun for like up to 5 or 6 hours once you get all of the unlocks for that certain gun. And they've changed it where you can piecemeal buy what you want, so you don't have to like try and get that specific one by leveling up. But I think that Call of Duty like does it best in that regard, and just a pure FPS unlockable system with things in there to keep you coming back. Like, hey, I want to try out this new gun. Let me get this new attachment, or let me get this new perk that maybe I can change up the way I play. Like, there's no way to change up kind of the way you play in Battlefront, save from switching to a jump pack and using the shotgun. And maybe that's the most you can do.
Dude, we've had this exact same discussion about how important that meta aspect is.
Yeah.
And how it looks like more and more games are coming out where the devs are just not paying attention to it. Like, for instance, I mean, what if it was a kind of thing where, you know, if you were playing Battlefront right now, you were a fifth of the way through the unlocks, and some of the lighter unlocks were different variants, like weapon loadouts for vehicles. Yeah. Or, you know, it's tangible, real things that you had to work your ass to get up to over not hours, not sessions, but weeks and months. And, you know, like, that's one of the reasons I loved playing Battlefield back in the day. I mean, you got a weapon and you had to get like, what, 400 kills with that to unlock all the cool shit.
It was cool. Yeah. I enjoyed that.
One weapon could have taken you longer than it takes to get all of the unlocks in some of these new games.
One thing that I didn't really consider up until now, but I'm sure that EA kind of has its hands tied, because I'm sure everything they put into this game was under like insane eyes of Disney. Like, no, you cannot make that blaster this shade of brown because that's not representative of our brand. Like, I would
not only that, there have been articles written now about the fact that because this game came out before the next movie, that like they completely gutted the amount of content that could have been in the game. Like, they were saying that if they would have waited until afterwards with all the new kind of stuff that's with it, like, they basically shot themselves in the foot doing it in this order.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest.
You could have a lightsaber with a pommel or whatever. Excuse me, not pommel. The
sword saber or whatever. Yeah.
Well, not only that, they could have had maps and stuff from the new movie.
And they are going to, I think, after the movie is when that stuff is launching.
But yeah, I mean, it could have been part of like the core. You know, it could have
Right.
been. It could have been the big thing. Like, hey, you've seen the movie, now come play the game. Instead, now it's gonna be like, yeah, you've seen the movie, so go buy this, and then the $5.99 DLC, and then you're gonna want this pack, and then you're gonna
Yeah.
want to get the expansion. It's like,
I mean,
I don't
it
know.
was definitely EA'd, but
the
go ahead,
price
Ella.
also though. I think that's something that could be talked about. The
What,
price of this game,
$60?
for what you get for it. Like there have been some pretty
Yeah.
scathing reviews on like what you're actually getting for the money you're paying for this game.
Yeah.
And when you talk about like if you only liked the big kind of iconic Star Wars battles, you have like what 4 maps to choose from?
Yeah, 4 maps, and there's like different quote unquote
people are
arenas
paying
on each map,
$60
or four planets, I should say,
Yeah,
I don't know if unlocks are the way to go, man.
for an FPS.
I don't. I don't
Unlocks have
like.
worked. So
I'm not saying that unlocks haven't worked. I'm just
Well, what
saying
would you
like,
suggest in its place to get the same effect?
I don't know. When it comes to Battlefield, it's like one thing or the other. Either there's not enough unlocks, or there's too many, and it takes way too long, and it's way too intricate, and it just intimidates me and makes me not want to waste all that time for that extra scope that goes in extra times two. You know, that's all situational anyway. It's not like it's gonna make you a better player. It's just gonna make you better for a certain situation that may pop up. You know, in certain maps. I don't know. Like, I feel like. I don't know.
Not to bring up a Destiny or anything, but I'm going to. I remember doing the PvP in Destiny, and you would have all these really cool weapons that you would get from raids and whatnot. But in the PvP, they would equalize.
Yeah, yeah.
Like levels of people playing, their weapons and stuff like that. They still have some of like the perks, but they wouldn't do any more damage than any other weapon, or they wouldn't. There's not a superior advantage to having a better weapon in PvP unless you do a specific thing like there's a
I know what you're talking. Is it the
there's
Crucible?
a PvP that happens on the weekends that your epic weapons actually count.
Oh
for something.
yeah. I know. I don't know what that's called.
But
Chat will tell us.
every other PvP is pretty balanced. I just like that's kind of like when I played it, I was just getting like for the hour and a half that I played, I was just getting like just wrecked, and I was like, it's like I was walking up to them with my dick out, just going.
Because they had better guns than you, or higher.
Iron Banner, thank you, Iron Banner. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. They had better guns than you. Yeah.
This might be like idealistic and maybe a little naive, but I wish that I wish that the time they put into these unlockables and everything is this kind of time sink. I wish they would just work on the depth of the game and the actual systems of the game and making the game more interesting, and then having these things that you would have unlocked become a part of that naturally. Does that make sense?
I think Evolve kind of did that, and once you introduce too many systems into something like an FPS, it becomes less of an FPS and more of like, I don't know. That's a hard sell.
I think that's where I don't know.
For every specialized aspect like that you put in, the hard reality is that you're reducing the amount of people it's going to appeal to.
Yeah, business-wise, for sure.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, and it's a hard line to walk because I mean, Ello kind of nailed it with the fact that it would be nice to see more depth. I think a good solution would be both. Just have a lot of depth to your game, and then have tangible and real unlocks for them too that make a difference. But I mean, it goes back to kind of the Overwatch thing. It's like, okay, Overwatch has a lot of depth, and that's good. And you guys are still kind of playing it, but there's no question that the hype level is half, 25% what it was a week ago. And what's it going to be like in 2 weeks from there? It helps, but it's not the answer. It's like, no, and you have to also put into that little point where it's like, just like JP said, when you add that depth, what if you go too much and all of a sudden you start losing your appeal to your more generalized audience? So
And I don't know if doing beta or early releases and stuff like that, so people get their eyes on it before the full release.
It's true. It's really weird if you think.
I think that's detrimental to them, to like a FPS PvP game.
It's weird how that's changed. Like if you think back to the old days, like 10 years ago, where FPSs didn't have, there was no beta. Like it's become such a marketing thing with these alphas and these betas. Yeah, it's not even it's not used properly, but it's also like the first time you ever got to play Battlefield 2, I don't think there was a beta. I think it was at full launch. But maybe it was even earlier than that. Like maybe it was 1946 where it just came out and everyone like was freaking out because this game was absurd. Like the whole idea of a beta, I totally agree with you, Zeke. It started to spoil a lot of like, or take away from the hypeness of a game. Like I had played 20 hours before Battlefront was officially released. That's kind of weird, or even more than that, actually.
That's an interesting point. I mean, if you think about it, you know, we have an X number of hours that we will play a game that we're interested in. Another hard reality. We're only going to play a game for X amount of hours. It's the developers a lot of times are shifting those X hours into betas and alphas and things like that. Dude, there were people that had played Evolve for 30 hours and were done with the game before a last phase of beta. And
I think I was one of. I think a lot of us were one of them.
Yeah. And it's like at that point, it's like you kind of have to think. It's like, are the devs really expecting people to have basically played their game now going on, you know, 30, 40? In case there were some streamers that played like every day, every time it came up, 60 plus hours, you know, before you even release your game. It's
Now, okay, now hold on a second. In Evolve's case, we thought there was gonna be more. The reason we played all that in the beta and everything, or really into it, is because what we were told at the time was that that was only a percentage of the actual game on release. And then when the game came out and they had like 3 extra modes, which were all terrible, and it really wasn't anything more than what we had already been playing. And so a lot of us were kind of like, whoa, we've been doing this for, like you said, 60 hours, some of us.
Yeah.
And there just wasn't anything left. Now, in this game, it's a little bit different, right? We played one map. You know, it was like, what, 5 levels of unlockables or something like that.
Right.
And you still get the same result, right? Like after a couple weeks, nobody's going to be, you know, I mean, not that nobody's going to be playing it, but, you know, there's a good possibility that a lot of people won't be streaming it. So it's like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. A lot of people say like, see, you know, I made the point that, you know, I don't know in these games where you can play the map over and over and over again, still have fun. A lot of people brought up CS, but you know, there's something to be said about Counter-Strike has the longevity because it's got the nostalgia. It's got other things working for it. It's been around for a very long time. And it was, if Counter-Strike were to be released, even CSGO were to be released like today without the history of it, I don't think it would be a successful game at all. I think that there's the history of that game makes it what it is, personally.
Fallout 4 is
everybody decided that Counter-Strike was the worldwide competitive FPS game.
Well, that's true. Counter-Strike has now it's developed its own community. It's a big community. It's almost got like this metagame itself where people completely care about stats. They care about their ranks. They want to compare it with their friends. They want to go like it's every game developer wants that for their game. Counter-Strike is the game that has it. Counter-Strike will always have it because at this point it's become a litmus test on how good you are at first-person shooters to a lot of people. There's pros out there that are like, oh, okay, oh, cool, you play games, that's great. What do you do in Counter-Strike? What's your rank?
Yeah.
You know, I've seen people straight up just like, oh, yeah, okay, what's your rank in Counter-Strike? But that's like the starter of their conversation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, I think everyone hopes their game gets to that point. But once you've developed that community, man, that's the gold for that kind of thing. That's where it is.
And I want to be clear because I'm getting a little bit of flack in the chat. I'm not saying that Counter-Strike doesn't have depth. It really does, and there's a lot that goes into competitive Counter-Strike. What I'm saying is that if it were just to be released today, I don't think that people would have picked it up and would have taken the time to find that depth.
I think they totally would
just to release it today. Like if it didn't have the longevity, it didn't have you know, what we call 1.6 now and all that kind of
but if you think about it this way, Ello, compare the numbers of today to the numbers of people that played 1.6 back in the day. Those are like, that's like 1,000 to 1 billion. Like those numbers are fucking amazing compared to where it was back then. So I think the point of if you released it today without having anything else before is kind of wrong. Counter-Strike it's a beautiful game. Like there's so many things that game did right on so many levels, or does right, I guess.
I know, but I feel like I said, I think that's a progression, right? It's an evolution of, okay, it started here, it went, you know, with the Half-Life, you know, mod, and they came in, it worked its way, you know, into what it is today. And I think that progression and that history that people have with that game makes it what it is, right?
Oh,
and I
for
just
sure.
don't,
Yeah. Okay.
and
I would agree
don't
with
think
that.
you could just I don't think you could just release again like CS:GO. Hey, this is a new game. It's called Counter-Strike Go, and nobody heard of Counter-Strike before now. I just don't think it would be as successful. And
It's hard
I
to
could be
say.
wrong. I mean, that's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong about that. I'm wrong very often. But I'm trying to think like, why does Counter-Strike do so well, and why do so many people love it, including myself? But when you've got these, AAA games that are coming out that have all these other, new cool features and everything, but they can't last more than a couple weeks. Why does Counter-Strike pretty much dominate the first-person shooter on Twitch?
But dude,
and it's got to be the history, right? It's got to be that we grew up with
everyone
this
plays
stuff.
it.
Yeah, I know.
But all your friends. It's the same reason that MMOs back in the day. It's like when there were so few MMOs that everyone played the only 3 that were available. They were the shit. And if you weren't playing that MMO, then you were losing out. CS:GO was the same way. It's been around so long that now it's like, of all the games, not only the esports value and all the stuff with that, but everyone plays it. So it's not only a game. It's a game that a lot. Everyone at least knows about it. They may not play it, but you also know that everyone can get it. Everyone can go on Twitch and watch it. We're talking about it right now, even though it's a 10-plus-year-old franchise. Like it's what's big and new. It's like the World of Warcraft of MMOs. Everyone knows World of Warcraft, and there's lots of great little MMOs that have come out that have just gone right under the radar with their awesome new great mechanics, because all these other big games everyone knows about, and that's what they'd rather do. These are social games a lot of times. So if your game isn't socially competitive, then it's just going to fall right behind. Just like
also, I think there's something to be said about not making a new game, just making the game you have continually better.
Of course.
Wow,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, of course.
Not reinventing
At the same time, I agree with everything Ko said, but the biggest reason Counter-Strike's such a good game is because the actual aiming in that game is the best aiming that FPS has ever had. Maybe apart from like Quake, but like the actual game of Counter-Strike, physics, the aiming, how the rounds work, the maps, how everything works is like fundamentally a fucking incredible game.
That one of the fundamental reasons it's lasted this long.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Absolutely. I'm not even a huge competitive FPS fan. I play them every so often. Hell, I had a Counter-Strike kick while on Drop Frames just a few months ago.
Right.
There's no question it's unique.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
You play it. It's other games you can tell are trying to be like it and just aren't. And even as someone who's not a huge fan of it, I still have fun playing it. It's clear that it's a pretty good quality product. But yeah, I mean, it's the community itself, I think, really is what is going to drive a lot of that stuff. Even if you have a great game, if you don't have that community connection behind it and above it, then it's, if your friends don't know about it, how are you going to talk about it, enjoy it, play it together?
Yeah.
Unless you're telling them, and then that's a whole different issue.
A lot of that, too, comes down to the ranking system in Counter-Strike, where you're talking about the social aspect. Like, the systems built into Counter-Strike can, like, it's become, you made the great example of, like, a lot of FPSers be like, what's your rank in CSGO? Like, that's how important that is to that community. And there's like, Battlefront has no ranked mode whatsoever. So there's nothing for that hardcore group to aspire to. It's like, oh, I went 40-0 in a game. It's like, well, you're playing against noobs. Like, it means nothing. But if you're global elite, it's like, oh, well, I'm global. Oh, okay, well, that means that you're actually a decent plair, right?
A good example of what you're saying, I had a buddy who it was actually actively streaming Battlefront now, and he said, yeah, I don't even play it offline because it's not recording it's not recording the stuff that I do well.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
If it's like he didn't have any fun playing it himself, unless it was like for the reason of like showing people how good it was doing or doing stuff like that. There was none of that back end stat tracking. There was none of those ranks. There was none of there was nothing really there. So yeah, that's
so in this I'm just kind of honestly I'm sort of exploring all of this right now, thinking like kind of in depth thinking about it and just kind of throwing my thoughts out there as they come.
Yeah.
Does it hurt?
So maybe the idea then would be more simplicity in some of these games. Maybe back to basics. Like, I mean, how do you make what I'm trying to tackle in my head right now is how do you make one of these games last a long time on Twitch or keep an audience,
Twitch
people interesting for a long time?
I think Battlefront is as basic as you can get in an FPS. Like that,
it seems that way.
It is.
That's
but doesn't that go against what you were saying about like Counter-Strike that has like the best aiming and
it's
the best hitbox, like the best all that stuff? Like that's you don't have that in Battlefront.
No,
Like,
because you're
it
using
doesn't
like
have-
laser, like the idea of a laser and like leading it. I mean, I see what you're saying, and you can see that I'm struggling to combat your point, but like,
I'm struggling to make my points.
yeah, the,
So
the
we're both
shooting,
kind of-
the shooting in Battlefront compared to CS is like night and day in terms of how the skill is implemented into that. If that makes sense, like
It's like arcade to strategy. It's
yeah,
like
yeah, exactly. That's a good
Battlefront
point.
is an arcade game. It's a Star Wars hyped first person arcade game, and it's designed so you can have fun in the Star Wars environments. I mean, think about the discussions we've been having. What really blows you guys away? Oh, the environments are awesome. I feel like I'm there, and the sound effects are great. And it's you're never talking about how great the shooting is or how the competitive feel is. It's still one of those games you spawn. Maybe you get killed in 3 seconds because you spawn in a bad place, or you get sniped or something, and then you know
Right.
there's it's not the institution style strategy where you can take one map in CS, you can go online and find 2,000 different strategy guides on how to properly plan that map and team strategy and where the best sniping positions are and what weapon loadouts you want to use. You're not going to find that for anything else.
Yeah.
It's just not there.
Yeah, I don't.
It's so
FPSs are
man.
weird
It's
in
so
this year.
weird that I don't know. It's just so weird to me that that a game I don't know. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to get across. It's so weird to me that a game like a new AAA game wouldn't be as interesting. It wouldn't have the same kind of concepts or be able to do what Counter-Strike has been doing for so long, but do it better.
Yeah.
Like, what is it about Counter-Strike that makes it so much better? Because it's not the sophistication of the systems and stuff, which is what these new games kind of bank on, right?
Right.
These unlockables and
I feel like we should have a CS pro on right now.
abilities and stuff. Like CS doesn't have any of that shit. Like it's just, hey, here's your gun. You shoot that guy in the head, he'll die. And it's an interesting thing to kind of think about.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of selling CS short. The complexity of the aiming in that game is more than it's more than Battlefront, where it's like point your cursor at that guy and he'll eventually die. Like in CS, there's recoil is taken into effect where you have to actually manage that on a shot by shot basis or don't, and then you spray properly by learning the spray patterns at the highest level. Like none of that intricacy in shooting exists in something like Battlefront. So maybe that's where the depth is in that game.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Maybe instead of these unlockables systems where this carrot on a stick where we're just chasing this thing down the road and eventually we're either going to get bored of chasing or we're going to get it and realize it's not as good as we thought it would be.
And a lot of that also, the console world doesn't fucking care about CSGO. Like that's where a lot of this comes into. Like Battlefront is made primarily for console. That's where it's most likely going to sell the most. That's where EA will make its money, is on the Xbox One and PS4. And like something like CSGO would never exist on a console. Like Battlefront's probably Call of Duty's probably the closest it's going to get, but that's an entirely different type of shooter in that regard. Like it's there is skill. There is obviously like skill taken into the aiming of that, but it's nowhere near what CSGO is going to be. And there's nothing wrong. There's not a better there. It's whatever your liking is to.
Yeah.
But like a lot of times they make these games not to be or not to cater to the hardcore as much as CSGO did. It's to just be fun and to make it so that people that are not prone to buying a Call of Duty will see, hey, that guy's playing as Boba Fett. Maybe I should pick that game up because that looks cool.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some more thinking on it outside of the broadcast and see how I really feel about it. Because every time I come up with something, I think about something else. You guys make a point, and I go, oh, okay. I'm just trying to figure out why these games eventually kind of drop off the map. Like why does that happen? Why does it happen? It's becoming routine. Like you play these games for the first week or so, and then
Totally.
you're done. Again, you can name them Titanfall.
Evolve.
It hasn't happened with this yet, but
Yeah.
I think we all pretty much agree it's a pretty decent.
And there's been other non-AAA
Evolve,
games.
Dude,
Like,
we have a slew of games that are coming out that I'm concerned about this for all the Battleborn,
Yeah.
Paladins. Like, in fact, I was hoping one of you guys could talk a little about Paladins. I don't know if any of us
I
have
haven't
played
checked it out.
I'm very interested to know how different that is from Overwatch. Is
beta
this gonna-
launched on Tuesday, right?
Yeah. A lot of people have been playing
They were
Paladins.
given. I was given a bunch of codes to give away. I haven't done that.
And then Battleborn is between those. We have Gigantic right around the corner. I mean, is one of these games going to be? Are they all going to be 2-week wonders, or are they going to be something that really has staying power?
Yeah.
And if it does have staying power, what did that company do that all the other ones didn't? And but Ello, it's kind of interesting. I mean, you're acting kind of like you don't know the answer to an obvious question. I think every game developer is trying to answer that with every game. What do I put in the game to make it the next Counter-Strike, the next League of Legends? What do I need? Because think about how many League of Legends clones there are. There's only one League of Legends on Twitch. You know what I mean? There's not all these little ones competing. There's League of Legends and then all the ones that failed beneath it. Although, to be fair,
I think Dota 2.
Yeah, I don't think
it's
it's
kind of up there too. To be fair, and
Dota
that brings
2
up
and League
another
are
interesting point.
thing.
Why did Dota 2 be able to compete with League of Legends, and why hasn't any other FPS done the same thing with the Counter-Strike? It's like, what was that little thing? Was it the community? Was it the fact that Dota was kind of the original CS, so that community vibe carried over to Dota 2 to a point where it elevated up to League of Legends status? It's really interesting. At the end of the day, though, the more we talk about it, the more I really feel like it has to do with that out of game community, the people that are talking about the game when they're not playing the game, or watching the game when they're not playing the game, and still really enjoy playing it and stuff like that. Without it's a question that I think every game dev is trying to answer.
Yeah, that's the golden ticket for game devs right now, is because they don't know. Like you've seen a lot of non-AAA game companies like Dirty Bomb, for example. It's not the exact. It's not an exact copy of Counter-Strike by any means. In fact, it's probably more TF2 based, but the skins and the cases in that game is very reminiscent of what Counter-Strike is doing. And also the other thing too is, you brought up League of Legends. In the new Call of Duty, there is a ban phase in one of the modes. You can ban guns depending on what your leader, your captain or whatever on that team wants to ban. So you're starting to see, like, they're starting to bring in League of Legends or MOBA type aspects into FPSs, which is fucking bizarre. But I think that a lot of people, and that might even be the new esport version of that game for Black Ops 3.
Think so? Is
they're going to start banning guns, which is like, that's a fucking weird thing to think about.
I'm not mad at that idea.
it's not a bad idea by any means. It's actually kind of cool if you think about it, but I don't know. It'll be weird. Yeah. It'll be weird.
I think when it comes to League of Legends, I think that the same thing applies as far as like the longevity. I mean, Dota, the original Dota, was for those of you who don't know, was a Warcraft 3 custom map that not a lot of people really got into. It was kind of a select group of Warcraft 3, custom map players that really, kind of started to get it some push, and it became so widely popular that League of Legends, they made the game kind of based around the same ideas. And unless I'm wrong, and I totally could be, I believe it was the first game that they released as a solo of the same genre, and then on top of that, it was free to play.
I think League of Legends launched right around the time that Han did, and then Dota 2 came out about 9 months later, if my timeline is correct.
I think the fact that I don't know if it was 9 months. It feels like longer than that.
I don't know about MOBA history. I'm staying out of this.
Yeah,
I believe that League of Legends is so successful today because it did what Dota was already doing, but it brought it to a larger audience and made it free.
The first rendition of League of Legends was pretty fucking terrible, to be honest.
Yeah, I played it.
I played it, and that's why I went and played Han right afterwards, because it was like, Han's actually just a better game, and now I regret that decision because, like, fuck, right? But yeah, like the first rendition of League was pretty not what it's nowhere what it is today, obviously. But obviously that community grew, and it was a lot of that was also because it was, I think it was like one of the first free to play games as well.
People are mentioning, real quick, people are mentioning Heroes of New Earth, but Heroes of New Earth still came out after League of Legends. Heroes of New Earth was
by a very small margin. Yeah,
by a very small margin, and Heroes of New Earth was a complete copy. I mean, it was just like the skills and heroes look slightly different. I mean,
of Dota or
Dota. Of Dota, I should say, not of League.
League is kind of the same way, though. What would be really interesting is to kind of compare HON and League. Like, for instance, something I'm really interested to know, as someone who's definitely not a MOBA history major by any degree, like, did LoL start really hitting it with the tournaments Like, what did LoL do to catapult it to the same level as the Dota Warcraft 3 map? Like I just said in chat, I have like 10x hours on the Dota Warcraft 3 map than I do Dota 2 and LOL combined.
I mean, I think
but what was it about LoL that not only elevated it to the status of the Dota Warcraft 3 map, but then like just rocket shipped it?
I think it was
like, what was the first big tournament for LoL?
Well, it's not even. I think it was LoL was free, and Han wasn't. Like, I think that was the reason. I don't think Han was. Aspect? Do what?
There's so the free to play aspect. You think was?
Oh yeah, I think that. I mean, that League was like one of the first free to play games. I think that's why it took off so much. Obviously, that's.
I mean, it's certainly a factor. The more people playing, the more people talking about it. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I think you might have some. Your argument definitely has weight to it. Like I don't know what the differences are, but it'd be cool to see what people who are super into that genre say about that for sure.
Speaking of which, a very interesting other thing to think about: the survival multiplayer genre. There's been one company that has been pushing the social aspect. They've been running big tournaments. They've been putting in tons of patches. And I'm pretty convinced that this one is the one that most people are talking about. I don't even actively play it. It's Ark. I mean, people still play the hell out of Ark. They still have these big tournaments. It has lasted so much longer than the normal kind of survival multiplayer.
Doesn't it have like crazy amount of people playing it on Steam too? Like,
dude, it's huge. It's huge. And it's kind of like, it's interesting to see, like, don't get me wrong, Ark is well made, and arguably when it came out, like for the beta aspect was pretty damn polished. But it's, I don't play it a lot anymore, so I don't know how far it's come now, but it's kind of crazy to see how many people are still like pretty damn into it. Like, I have people talking about Ark in my channel frequently, and I haven't played it myself for like months. But see games lasting that long, it's kind of interesting to think, is that meta stuff that the company's doing a part of that? Is it contributing? Is that kind of the secret to it? Like,
yeah, I pulled up Steam Spy, and this is totally off topic, but Tales of Zestiria is number 8 right now, trending on Steam. That is what the fuck? Like, I did not expect that to be. I played that game full playthrough. Like, well, what the fuck is that doing number 8? Anyways, go ahead, Ella.
Just a heads up, kind of not really off topic, but League of Legends was released on October 27th, 2009, and Han was released on May 12th, 2010. Now,
but when did the beta start?
So I was just about to say, April 10th, 2009 for the closed beta for League of Legends, April 24th, 2009 for Heroes of New Earth. So the closed beta was only 14 days difference.
See, and that's what happened
with League of Legends being the first.
Yeah.
At least from that's what Wikipedia says. Now take it how you will. But
sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find numbers for Ark because I'm just curious how many people are playing that, but now I'm in the 75s. I don't know if I just missed it or what, but oh, there it is. There it is. Nope, never mind, I missed it. Lineage 2 is like 69. This is
Lineage 1 is probably, like, you go over to Taiwan, dude. Lineage 1 is still one of the highest played games over there.
Lineage? Like orcs and dark elves and like Lineage, like the old MMO
Lineage MMO. Yep.
Wow, man.
Maybe I just don't know how to use. It might be the case that I don't know how to use Steam Spy, but like Skyrim is 8. I guess this is all time, maybe. No, this is top 100 games in the last 2 weeks by total time spent. Skyrim is number 8. Yeah,
a lot of people are going to spend a lot of hours in games like Skyrim and stuff. So
in the last 2 weeks though, Skyrim is number 8. Fallout 4 is 3rd. GTA's 5th. Gary's Mod 6th.
I just realized, are they going to make Elder Scrolls 6 on the Game Bureau engine too?
Yeah. Weird. Yeah. Wouldn't that suck?
God, sorry.
That would definitely suck.
I don't know, man. I don't know. After playing Fallout 4, I'm just like, please, just a new engine, please, just please.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, we went off on a random tangent. That was good fun. But Zeke, you've been playing indie games. I want to talk to you because you played The Vanishing of Ethan Carter.
Yes.
It's a little bit late from when that game launched, but yeah. I tuned in and you.
No, I what I do is like during the Indie Sundays, I have a bot thing that pops up and says, "Do you have a game to suggest?" Put it in here, and Vanishing of Ethan Carter came up a couple of times. Undertale, of course, came up a ton.
Right.
But I look at what like comes up a lot, and I try and give those a day in court. Now, let me say this about the Vanishing of Ethan Carter. This is not possibly not a great game for streaming.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty slow paced, and I love that. I think it adds depth and atmosphere to the game. Because it says right at the beginning, it says, this game will not hold your hand, and it says those words. It will not hold your hand
At the start.
So yeah, so you're just wandering around blindly looking for clues to like I played it for a couple hours and like looking for clues to a murder and stuff like that. And you do wander around a lot.
Huh.
But I will say this. This game has quite possibly the best graphics I've ever seen in a game.
I heard they were really good.
Like it's the most beautiful like rendering of any digitalized outworld or just like nature and that kind of stuff that I've ever seen in a game. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like I went up to like a pile of leaves and I stood there and looked at it for a second. I was like, oh my God, someone had to do this. Like,
yeah.
But and it was just like a little tiny like foot square pile of leaves by a tree. And I went, God damn, that's awesome.
I love hearing stuff like that. I like hearing things like that because you know that it really did blow you away because it's something so insequential. It's out of the way. There's no reason you would ever look at this, but in this game, for some reason, it just kind of grabs you. This pile of leaves. I love because shit like that happens to me all the time when I'm gaming. Like something will happen, like a tree will look a certain way. I'll be like, I'll just stop and be like, that's a good looking tree. Like those guys, they did right. You know,
You go up to the bark. And you can see and you go up to like a railing, like on a bridge, and there's like scuff marks from like, I don't know, someone skating on it or something. It's like, it adds to the imagination. Now I will say this, probably not a good game for streaming because it's a lot of wandering around looking for clues aimlessly. This is not spoiling anything, but I picked up a hand grenade that was out in the middle of nowhere for no discernible reason yet. Why it was there. Like I picked it up. It said, you found this old hand grenade. What do you want to do with it? Keep it? Yes. And nothing else. They give you no clue as to where it goes or what is that. Like
that's old school type adventure game. Yeah.
That. You got to find something else that connects to something that you found. And then you piece together and then you could then like this imagination screen pops up. It's kind of got like a blue tint or whatever. And then you have to piece together the order of events, and then it shows you once you get them right. It shows you the event.
That was a really cool part of that game.
But yeah, no, it was really really cool.
Oh, you've played this?
It's like an old adventure game,
dude,
like where you you put the pieces together.
Yes,
and
it's very much like that. But what's really cool is Vanishing, and I'm gonna get back to Zeke because he just played it. I played it a long time ago, but it's very unique in terms of the gameplay loop. Like what you do in each of the locations, and especially once it starts introducing like the enemies and stuff like that, it's very unique in how you deal with them and how you approach the situations. Some of them are a little like shaky, but it was really fun playing that game, especially the first time you come across it. You're just kind of like, wait, what is it? Why is everything blue? What do I have to? Okay, this is pretty cool. But
yeah, and I skipped the first there's like the first area of clues. Because I found a couple of clues and I didn't know what the hell was going on. And I skipped that area, went on to the next one, found all the clues for the next one. And then I was like, oh shit, that's probably what was happening in the first one. And I went back and sure enough, there was stuff I didn't see and I didn't put together the entire picture and stuff. So yeah, it's truth when they say it doesn't hold your hand. But it's just a really gorgeous game. And I didn't really get into a lot because I would say like 80% of what I was doing was just wandering around through the forest and stuff.
Now let me ask you about that. Do you feel like you were rewarded enough for that exploration, or did you feel like you could have stayed pretty much in the, kind of the more traffic area of the map? Like, let's say that there's like a grid, right? Like a square. You're obviously going to check the railroad tracks. You're going to check the, weird rock formation here, any of that stuff, that like normal shit that you go and investigate. Did you get a lot of information by going kind of off the grid and maybe checking
not a lot of information by going off the grid, but that's where I found that grenade was seriously, like way away from everything else. I was just wandering around, looking around, looked down at the ground. I was like, the fuck, grenade. And they're like, no clues, no nothing, even in that area that I could see in that area. And it was way away from like the high traffic area where you would consider high traffic, like the train tracks and like the shoreline and stuff like that. It was completely out of the way.
Huh.
Yeah, it was funky, man. It's a very cool psychological experiment game. It's good.
I tuned in, and I won't say what you were doing, but your mind was being blown each second by second. And did you beat the game?
No, I only played it for a couple hours. I want to go back to it, but I might not play it on stream just because this is because of that aspect.
Okay.
Because there's no sense of urgency. In fact, it's probably not good if you try and go through it fast.
Yeah, I was. How do I say what part you were at? I guess I
know
won't.
what part you're talking about. It comes out of bloody nowhere.
Yeah, I've never seen you just been like, what the actual fuck is
Yeah, no, I made a Bioshock reference because it reminded me
of
that.
Oh, yeah. You're right. It did for sure.
Yeah, because like I was looking out, and as soon as like everything was revealed, I just immediately went 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. So
I have a question because I love playing mystery games streaming. I've never played mystery games until I started streaming, and they're one of my favorite things to play. Is this, and I love like theory crafting and talking about what I think is happening and, comparing that with what actually happens. I really enjoy those streams. Is this that kind of game where is this more adventure and linear, or is this a mystery that you're going to have to solve? You know what I mean? Like,
it's definitely a mystery. I played it for 2 hours and I still had barely any idea of what was going on.
Okay, I know that sounds kind of silly, but sometimes what they call mystery games are really just adventure games, and if you just follow a linear path, you're gonna figure it all out. Whether you
mystery though.
What's that?
It's on rails mystery. So there's definitely some mystery, but you are kind of methodically walked through it and methodically given the details to like the big reveals. It's not really like, hey, let's go around and solve a mystery. It's more of let's kind of uncover this story in a line.
That's exactly. I consider that more adventure really than
it's the gameplay is more adventure, but the story presents itself as this kind of, like Zeke was saying, the story presents itself as kind of a what the hell's going on now that I've been playing this game 3 hours. But once you get to the points where you kind of start getting the meat of it, you can kind of see the progression of getting there. Am I making sense?
And also that's what people said as I was playing it, because I put it down because I like to like give games like a couple of hours and see if I want to keep going with them later on or whatever. But that's what they said. They're like, you were just about to get to like the meat of the story and stuff before you cut out. And I was like, okay, so maybe I'll go back to it someday. But yeah, it is in linear as far as I saw, but you can definitely miss shit. Totally.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of optional stuff too for like the little like side achievements and stuff that add to flavor to the world. So if you're really thorough, you will get more of a kind of informed experience as you move through it. So there's that aspect to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you should try. If you haven't played it, it's definitely worth a playthrough.
I just didn't know if it was more like open world and we could you just go and start exploring and then you start piecing things together, or if it was more like they put you on this path and you walk here and you investigate this, you walk further down the path, and there's not really a lot of like open world just figuring it out on your own. It's very like
I say it's more linear with spots you stop in.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I got you. I got you, because I found there's a difference, and I know that I like one more than the other, so that's why I'm asking, because this was one that I totally missed, and I kept going, oh, I might go back to that at some point, and you're the first person I've talked to that has played it, so.
Yeah, this is one of those games that came out and I never played it. Now I'm kind of wishing I could go back and play it. But what else did you play on Indie Sunday? I know there was another game that you checked out.
I played Tesla Grad.
Let me just skip it.
Which was
this
one. Yep.
Oh, that's something else.
Not that one.
Yep. There you go. I saw you playing at this and raging a little bit.
Yep. Tesla Grad. It's a straight up puzzle platformer with power up items that you have to get to get past certain areas and stuff. Like you walk for a while and you're like, I want to grab that, and then you move on and you find the thing. Oh, it's like, oh, that thing will allow me to grab this thing. But it's a cool addition to puzzle platformers if you like those kind of games.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, the art style is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's what grabbed me, honestly, because I've seen a lot of puzzle platformers. Obviously, there's a ton of them, and this what caught my eye was like the graphic style. I was like, oh, this looks pretty neat, and it is. It's like paper on paper kind of graphics, which I don't know what that's called, but it's like paper cutouts on top of each other.
Sure.
But it's really cool. It's I would say it's an average game with better than average graphics. The mechanics are cool. There's some boss fights that are pretty neat that you have to figure out how to destroy the bosses and whatnot. But not, I mean, you're seeing it. There's not a
There's
ton,
not much than this.
not a ton to talk about, but it reminded me a little bit of Braid, I suppose, without the time aspect, the time moving aspect.
It's a good thing to be reminded of.
But yeah, it reminded me a little bit of Braid.
Difficulty?
It's challenging, but it's not overly challenging. The puzzles aren't super difficult to figure out. There was one part that I got stuck on a little bit, but I think it's because I didn't have the correct item for it or something. But it's a good puzzle platformer with power up stuff.
Any idea how long it is?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I played it for
It's $10 on Steam, so it looks pretty good for $10. Like a $10 puzzle platformer, especially the art style might pull you through.
Does anyone know how long it is?
That's what we were just asking.
Oh,
I don't know. Or he didn't. How long did you play it? Like 2 or 3 hours?
I played 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I could look up the length on how long to beat, but it might be a spoiler for some people. So, what the fuck is this space game you're playing? I saw you playing this, and this looked pretty interesting.
Is that Rebel Galaxy?
Yes.
Ah, what do you think?
Now this game is fucking cool. This game I will come back to, definitely. There are several reasons why I will come back to this game. It has a really cool naval style combat when you're in your ship. So it's like you have to turn your ship and shoot your broadsides.
Is it all single player?
And it's slow. Yeah, it's single player.
Okay.
And it's slow. I mean, you move pretty slow until you get upgrades and stuff like that. And there's a nice ship upgrade system. It's the person who suggested it to me said, oh, you should play this, and he kept suggesting it. And I was like, okay. And he's like, it's like Firefly.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's a big claim to make. But
Yeah.
I will say it's definitely a valid comparison. Because, and I will say this game has one of the best soundtracks I have ever heard in a game. It's like Hotline Miami good.
Really?
It's
Is it
bluesy.
Hotline? Oh, okay. Yeah. What type of
It's
music is it?
bluesy, like Dirty South, like bluegrass, blues, like slide guitars, kind of like the opening song of Firefly. They Can't Take the Sky From Me song.
Yeah.
It's
Space
like
Western.
that. It's westerny, yes, westerny, bluesy.
Is it jazzy?
There's no jazz.
There's no Cowboy Bebop vibe from it.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop. Sure.
Really?
Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking.
That
Was
was
pretty good.
Cowboy Bebop, something like that.
Yeah,
I
someone
can
said
get
that.
behind anything that's like half Cowboy Bebop, half Firefly.
Yeah.
So
No, that's a good
I'm
way to
all
sell the
about
game
that.
for sure.
But the music is just fantastic, and it swells when it's supposed to swell. Like if you're getting in a rough situation or whatever, it goes down. It's kind of cool backgroundy. When you're because you go to these ports and stuff, or these docks, space stations, and you dock there and you go in. You go to the bar and you talk to guys in there, and you're like a scoundrel if you want to be. You can help smuggle, you can help do all this kind of
See if
stuff.
I can
There's
find some of
factions
that.
you can become a part of, and you gain reputation and that kind of stuff. And upgrade, the upgrade systems are great.
Oh yeah, you just bought a brand new ship.
There it is.
Wow.
There's the you're in the hangar and you can upgrade it. My I named my
I just saw that. I was like, what?
the Space Queef. It's the
Good.
Space Queef, thanks to Julia. who
Nice.
We all know.
Yeah, of course.
Julia's
Oh.
That was in honor of Julia?
She said, name it the Space Queef.
Oh,
And I said,
okay.
okay. And the reason why is because Julia is Italian and she learned that word from Twitch.
But in space, can anyone hear you, Queef?
Right.
You don't know.
But
So, Zeke, tell me something. How, after you'd been playing it for a while, how did it feel playing a space game that you could only move on one plane?
that was a little weird, but
Oh, there's no Z access to it.
I gotta be
it's all
honest, dude.
stat.
I downloaded Rebel Galaxy before anyone had streamed it on Twitch. Like, it was a tiny little thing. I played it for like 10 minutes, and dude, that drove me absolutely crazy.
Weird. That is kind of
The
weird.
entire space game takes place on the exact same plane.
yeah,
Like,
I honestly didn't mind it.
yeah,
It didn't really bother me all that
So,
much.
the rest of it was cool enough to kind of keep your interest in.
Yeah, the mechanics of the game were pretty cool, and the soundtrack and interaction with other characters and stuff like that. I understand that complaint completely understand. It was a little weird to me too. I was like, oh, you can't go up and down. It's just left and right. But I think the reason why they did that is to make the naval combat more accessible.
Yeah. It's also a cool way, you know, that shit can. That's a lot of a game to deal with, and if you just cut that out, you could do a lot of other things. As like an indie developer, I could see the resource-wise why that probably happened.
I feel like they should have made this game on like water planets or something. Like,
Instead of
like
being in
those
space.
Yeah, like I feel like there was such a cool opportunity with this game that I don't know, man. Like, it's too alien.
Was this
when
Kickstarted or anything like that?
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Waterworld, the game.
But the really strange thing is the other ships can go up and down a little bit. Like when you're battling them, they can go underneath you and they can go over top of you and stuff. That was kind of strange.
Let me ask a question.
Only
Is
one.
this about the actual like purpose? Like, what is your purpose in the game? Is it one of those games where you can like choose to be a pirate or choose to be a good guy? Do you do a lot of like
Yes, there are
runs?
factions in the game you can join that are bad guys, smugglers, and pirates and stuff.
Okay, question.
I didn't really delve into it, but you start off trying to find a family member, and that's like the through line of the thing to start with. It's like your aunt, I believe, and I can't remember the exact thing, but your aunt is gone and you're trying to find her.
So you jump in Space Queef and you
jump in the space
For your aunt.
and you start space trucking.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the thing is, it's funny that you had mentioned space trucking. I remember when I was growing up, I used to play a game called Escape Velocity, and it was this game on my Mac, and I loved the hell out of this game.
Hundreds of hours in that game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the game, for those of you who don't know, it's pretty old. It was just this 2D top-down game, and you started on this little milk carton of a ship, and you start doing runs, right? You take this much iron to this planet, and you get paid just a little bit more credits than you spent in gas, that kind of thing. And you did this, and eventually you got to a point where you had a big ship with fighters that would like a cruiser with like fighters off of it, and you could take over planets and have them pay tribute, like that kind of thing. Is this that kind of game where you start out kind of small?
It was a sandbox. It was
Yeah.
By the way, real quick before we move on, Endless Sky. Look it up on Steam.
Oh yeah.
Free remake of Escape Velocity.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Throwing that out there.
That's what I was wondering is like how much of that is this game where you start out small and you just do some runs, and after a little bit you can like afford a gun, and that might give you a little more leverage in what you can do. And what do you have to say, Zeke? Is it not really like that, or?
So I was reading the chat. I'm sorry. Ask me again.
I asked you, how are you feeling today? What's your cat's name? What's going on with? No, I was asking you about.
Right, that's Carmichael.
No, I was asking you, what is this the kind of game where you start out with like kind of nothing on your ship, maybe a crew, and then as you continue to play, you're upgrading your ship and kind of doing a little better each time, kind of thing?
That was I think was one of the really cool things that I experienced playing it, is that you can start upgrading immediately. Like you get like missions give you lots of like credits and stuff. You build them up immediately. However, they do put in the tiers of like ships. Like you can upgrade your original ship right away with money you get, and you can get like really cool guns and stuff like that. However, if you want to get a bigger ship, it's like exponentially higher amount of money that you need to spend, and then you have to spend more money to get upgrades for that ship, and so on and so forth. So yes, it's definitely upgradable.
Okay, cool. That's what I like to hear.
Yep, because there's the last ship is like the one I wanted was the Scarab, and that's like the second to the last one because the Scarab looked the coolest, or maybe not the Scarab, whatever. But yeah, there's like it's like $2,000 to upgrade your guns, but like if you want a new ship, like the best ship or whatever, it's like $1.5 million, 2 million credits.
Huh. Any idea how long it is? Seems like
Nope,
there's
no
a lot
idea.
in it.
No
What
idea.
you were describing. Also, was there mining? I saw you could like mine these rocks. Is that a thing?
Yep, you get mining. You put mining lasers on your ship, and then you split apart asteroids and grab the
Cool.
ore out of them.
Now, could you put guns in the place of those mining things if you wanted
Mining
to?
lasers are guns.
Oh.
Ah,
Oh.
I like that. They just use the same
Oh.
system. It's good.
That sounds really. That might be something I could get into.
Yeah, game looks all right.
Hell yeah! Thanks, Zeke.
What? Anything else, Zeke? Because I know
How much is it on Steam? It's like 15
it's
bucks. Isn't it?
yeah. It's let me look. It's $20. $20.
$20. It's worth $20 easily.
You have to
I would
pay
say.
$5,000 for the best ship.
Yeah, and honestly, you can just sit at like the dock or whatever and just listen to the soundtrack.
Oh, it's worth it for the. Do you get the soundtrack when you buy the game?
You don't actually because they don't own the rights to them. I don't think.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Take my queef, take me where I can.
But there, you can find them. You can find the soundtrack on like YouTube or
Spotify or something like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Spotify. Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Anything else that you played, Zeke? Because you're.
I finished Undertale.
Oh, how long? Okay. How long was? I'm not going to show any of Undertale because that game's kind of. We'll start getting into spoilers, I think. But
Right.
how long was it?
For me, about 20 plus, a little bit over 20 hours.
Okay.
And you can, I mean, without reading it or doing character voices like I did, you could probably get through it in way less time, half that time, if not less than that.
Last week,
And I
you
did
said,
a pacifist run. I didn't kill anybody. I had everybody at the end. Blah blah blah.
Last week you said, correct me if I'm wrong, that this was possibly one of your game of the years.
Yeah,
Still believe it?
Really?
it was just so simple, but it had so many different elements to it that made it a good game. That you kind of forgot how shit the graphics are. Because I think they made it on like a game making program.
Right.
They're like Game Maker something or other trademark. And they made it on that for very little money, but there's so many there's so much personality in the game that it's fantastic.
Wow.
And it gets weird too, like in a gamer style weird. Like you find there's a character in there that's like obsessed with anime.
Oh, okay. That's why
Yeah,
Dodger
and,
likes that
and
game
there's
so
a
much.
village of dog like somethings that are called Thames, and they talk. They have it's cutesy anime talk.
Nice.
Like when they greet you with lowercase h, uppercase oi. So it's hoi. And they misspell things, and it's cutesy, and I fucking like. Part of me loves it, but most of me hates it. Yep, there
That
it
sounds
is.
cool.
Hoi, and then they say boy when you're done. You can send, like, if you go to the merchant, you can send her to Cool Leg. That's how they spell college.
Cool leg.
We want go Cool Leg.
That sounds pretty funny. I might be into that.
But that's the thing. That's like one aspect of it. There's other there's some feelsy stuff to it. If you go around like reading everything and talking to everybody and exploring the world, it's a pretty deep game for being
What it
graphical
is.
challenge as it is.
Yeah.
It's totally worth the money. I suggest you do a playthrough yourself.
Yeah, that's one of those games I
blast.
probably got to check out. It seems like enough people are talking about it and there's enough buzz around it that it's probably... I just, if it's 20 hours, I don't know if I could last 20 hours in a game that...
No, you would probably do it, like, because I play really, really slow, like even slower than most slow players.
Okay.
I think you could probably get it done in like 10.
Okay.
I feel like it's one of those games that like you can't explain. It sounds like it anyways. Not that you're doing a bad job. It's just that like it sounds like one of those games that you just have to pick up and just start playing and just jump into the first couple hours of it. Is it kind of like that?
Yeah, it is. I had no idea about it. I had no idea what kind of game it was, what it involved. I had no idea at all, just other than people saying play it.
Yeah,
said,
I
okay.
find that some like really good
And
shows.
The first thing I saw I was like, oh man, this is gonna be bad. And then you start getting like delving into like the story and that kind of stuff. Like, okay, I get it. And it's really clever. Like there's a lot of really clever and absurd. I say there's a couple of really cool, funny, absurd sections of the game.
I run into that sometimes with shows. Somebody's like, you have to see this show, and I'm like, well, why? And they'll try to explain something funny that happened in the show, and it's one that you just got to see it, is what it seems like. So that's what it sounds like. Is this game is like it's good. Take your word for it. Start it up. You won't be disappointed.
I think of all the people here, I would enjoy watching JP play it the most.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. If he's like
your reactions, man, your reactions would be, I think, the most fun, most entertaining to watch.
Okay, I thought it was like you wanted to see me torture myself and play this game.
No, just the absurd aspects. I'm sure you'd be saying what the fuck a few times.
Yeah, I definitely need to check it out.
And the soundtrack, also the soundtrack is chippy and great.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I find that some of the best shows are like that though, and some of the best games are like that, where you can't
gotta
put your
experience
finger on it, and you're trying to explain, and you just So I'm excited. I think I said this last week. Lee Sparks, one of the senior developers of Overwatch, was actually playing that game, and he was like, "You have to play it."
Yeah, I remember you were talking about that.
Yeah, he was saying the same. A lot of people have been talking about it, so I'm excited. I don't know when I'm going to get around to it, but I probably will end up streaming it.
Yeah, that might be like a January game when things start slowing down in terms of game releases, which is something I wanted to talk about this week, but we're out of time. We're at our 5-hour limit, so 5 o'clock limit. So
what's coming out?
Next week is Just Cause 3. There's Xenoblade or Chronicles or something
really
like
cool
that.
thing we didn't get to talk about. Nintendo, for one of the first times, reached out to Twitch broadcasters to give them exclusive access. Chronicles was streamed yesterday by King Gathalion and Tangent Gaming.
I think that was today.
Was it today? Or
yeah, because I saw him tweeting about it today. Yeah,
but dude, that's huge.
It's cool to see them doing that.
A company like Nintendo doing that. That's big step.
Yeah, I'm
also,
definitely.
A little bit of side news: they delayed Deus Ex by 6 more months.
Yeah,
God, damn it.
It's probably better for the game. I'm okay.
Yeah,
with
but after that pre-order shit with the whole like, if you pre-order enough, we'll give you it a week early. And
yeah, that's just their fuck up.
It's like that. That's the worst two things that could happen back to back, man.
For real, and especially the fact that it was delayed. It was 6 months. It comes out in August.
6 months, man.
Yeah.
It's like, how could you be so wrong? It's like, did someone look at that and just go, whoa, holy shit, this is a pile of shit. Take it back. We ain't releasing this. Like, at what point do you look at your product and go, I need another half year?
6 months is a long time.
This.
It might have also been like just the release period in terms of sales. Like maybe they didn't want to release a Q1 because
you know what? Shame on you, Co. Shame on you for getting onto them for doing this. Yes, shame on you.
For what?
If they need 6 months,
let
them take 6 months. If they need a year, let them take a year.
That's fine.
I'm just
That's
like,
fine.
I get what you're saying. But at the same time, I'm like,
hype it at like E3 just a few months ago that it's going to be out within 6 months, and then you're going to do a ridiculous pre-order thing where if you pre-ordered enough, we'll give it to you even a week earlier than our release date.
Oh yeah, that's bullshit.
And then after all that, delay it 6 months, just a few months before the release date. It's like at what? Like that, there's a failure in there somewhere.
Yeah, someone fucked up.
That's not something. This isn't a, hey guys, the game's not quite good enough, and we're gonna push it back and make it better. This feels like marketing. Like it's not. There's
got to be something wrong that we'll
feel
never
right.
know.
It don't feel right.
The reason I said like shame you is because I don't ever want developers to feel like they have to meet this date, right? I want developers to take the extra time. I don't want them to feel that kind of pressure because you know what? I always say this. Gamers are the most patient people in the world. And I know that sounds crazy to say that. And you always give me that look.
Crazy.
I know. But here's the thing. If you wait 11 years between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, the people are going to wait and they're going to play it. It doesn't matter how long it takes for that game to come out. When it comes out, they're going to play it. That's all there is to it.
If it's an issue of the quality of the game, I don't think any gamer out there would say, I'd rather play a buggy piece of shit earlier than a developed vision later.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
No, I have issues. Excuse me.
Sorry, I'll let you finish.
Most gamers would be okay. But I definitely think that there's an issue of announcing a release date with a huge incentive and stuff to pay money for it, and then essentially just completely dropping the ball on that. Like, if they had not released a release date and just said, hey, we're pushing it back to work on it more, that's totally cool. But to do all this pomp and circumstance, old school, to get it to here and then release it, that just, yeah.
I know. I just my thing is it does not matter how long a game stays in development. The public will play it. They'll wait as long as they need to. There's never going to be a situation where it's going to go where a gamer's going to go, well, this just took too long to come out, so I'm just not going to play it. And maybe that's happened in very isolated cases, but for the majority of people, if we have to wait, we will. And when it comes out, we're going to play it. It doesn't matter.
An interesting discussion for another time, actually. We could talk about the fact that timing your release of the product, like for instance, the Tomb Raider. None of us have talked about Tomb Raider.
We talked about it last week.
A lot of people argued that came out way too late and just got swallowed up by all the other games. So
I'm not saying that there isn't a strategy to releasing. What I'm saying is I always want to encourage developers to take as much time as they need and not worry about when we want the game, okay? Because we want the game right now, like almost every time. So if you need to take an extra 6 months, I know, everything else aside, go take your 6 months, polish it up. Don't release another Fallout 4, please. That's what I want.
Interesting thing about
look at your face.
How do I
said that for you, Ko.
That was a good stinger at the end. Interesting thing, also coming out on the original date of February 23rd alongside Deus Ex, was Far Cry Primal, another Ubisoft game. That's probably why you don't want to launch a game against your own published, that makes sense why they did that.
That's a really good point, which makes you think, is Deus Ex done and they're just pushing it back for that? Like, that brings up all these other questions.
I mean, their actual comment was,
why did they do that in the first place? What was the thinking beforehand? Like,
their actual statement was, as we were now playing through the game in full, we can see that it will require more time in post-production for tuning iterations and refinement to meet our high standards. Or that we're also launching Far Cry Primal on the same day. So, that's kind of hard to
slide that in there at the end.
Yeah, no, that's kind of hard. I don't know why they would do that. Or maybe Fallout Primal, or not Fallout Primal, Far Cry Primal is what they're just putting in place of. Who knows? We'll never know. We'll
have to see.
Well, I just picture game developers like this. I didn't picture that. I pictured them like they built the Death Star.
Oh, Ubisoft or Square? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they built the Death Star, and then someone, like some little peon, comes in like, there's like a 2-foot port or 2-meter port that if you put a missile in there, it's gonna blow up the Death Star. Like, some game developers are like, put it out anyways.
Wait,
I get what you're saying.
That actually has a really good point. Deus Ex is not actually.
Yeah, but
the
still, reason I thought that is because I googled Deus Ex Mankind and it popped up on the Ubisoft store. Why can I? Are they the publishers for that and Sega's the devs?
Square, it's Squeenix is the.
But why can you buy that on the Ubisoft Play shop? What the fuck? Like, why does that exist? Now I'm just confused. That's why I got confused in the first place. I knew that, of course, they were made by Square, but
I like that because money.
Because money.
Does Uplay just have everything on here? Oh, I guess they do.
They could be trying to be like the next, Steam alternative. I don't know.
I mean, they don't have that. You can buy Fallout on the Uplay shop. I had no idea. Fallout. Yeah, that's weird. That's weird as fuck. Anyways,
because money.
Yeah, I guess so. Let's do some shout outs, wrap up the show. Elo, thanks again for coming on last second. It was a pleasure to have you here, man. I'll see you this weekend as well.
I love being on here. I know I seem really argumentative today. I'm going to chalk it up to no air conditioning.
I mean, that would piss a lot of people off.
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm in Florida with no air conditioning right now. You keep watching me do like this, it's because I'm sweating my ass off in my office right now. No, it's always a pleasure to be on here. I always enjoy being on here.
We'll do some shout
throwing out my opinions, however well received or not they are. But anyways, guys, if you guys want to join me on any of my streaming adventures, you can find me at twitch.tv/Ellohime. I would love to pitch to you all the things you can follow me on. But if you just take that step, see the broadcast, you can decide after that if you want to get more involved. I do a lot of variety games. Lately, I've been playing a lot of Fallout 4. I'm hoping to stream some Battlefront tonight or even tomorrow or early tomorrow morning. And yeah, I just like to have a good time and have some fun, have some laughs with good people, good games, good times, all that good stuff. So thank you so much. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be on Drop Frames. And thank you to the Twitch chat, and thank you to JP and Co and Zeke. You guys are amazing. You have a wonderful podcast / broadcast here, and I'm happy to be on it anytime you guys want me.
We're glad to have you here. And like I said, we'll see you this weekend. We have no idea where that's going to be streamed, right? We're doing a Battlefront gig this weekend, but we don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So,
It's pretty last minute.
yeah. So I guess when we both know more, we'll tweet about it or talk about it on broadcast or something like that. So cool. That's on Friday, or I think it's actually the actual broadcast is on Saturday, but we'll be leaving on Friday.
Yeah, the broadcast is on Saturday. It's a Battlefront tournament between a bunch of streamers, so it should be just good times and maybe a little competition. Yeah, since Summit's there.
You know, the best part, the funniest part about that is with where they're holding it. I don't think they're going to have PCs, so that means Summit is going to have to play in a competition on a console.
No, are you serious?
I would think they might have PCs there, but I would be very. It's so much easier.
Such a shit show.
It's so much easier just to plug in a console. And if it is on console, then I'm bringing my Microsoft Elite controller, and I'm gonna win.
And you know you're gonna give me shit the whole time. You're like, you talk shit about my $150 controller. I'm gonna be sitting there with the default where like it's like I'm constantly moving to the right, you know? And it's.
But we'll see. I hope it's on PC as well.
Real.
It'll be funny because every broadcaster just be like, "Yeah, no, you won because it was on a console, totally." Blah blah blah. So we'll find out on Saturday when we get there.
I care infinitely less about this now.
That's exactly what Summit was saying too. It'll be funny. It'll be funny. Zeke, do some shout outs, sir.
Yo, what's going on? My name is Ezekiel the Third, Zeke for short. For our boys in the house. I'm a variety streamer. You can follow me anywhere. Ezekiel _I, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all of the above. That's right. I will be gone. By the way, I will be gone for the next at least 4 to 5 days. So I might stream in the middle there if I hook up with anybody. That's where I'm going. But I'm going to LA with my brother, driving down there because he is moving out of his place and moving back up here. So I'm going to go drive with him, grab his stuff and his vehicle and bring him back. So next 4 or 5 days I'll be out. But follow my Twitter for updates, pictures, and that kind of stuff. But thank you. I want to thank you. Give a big thanks to Ellohime, Co, JP, and of course myself for being on the show.
There you go. There you go. Last but not least, Co, do some shout outs, sir.
Sure. Big thank you to Ello. Always a blast having him on. It was really cool having him on today to get such a varied and different perspective on Fallout. I thought that led to some great discussion. Zeke and JP, always a pleasure working with you guys. I'm Co. I stream every single day. I'm currently in a Fallout 4 hole as we 100% the game. I'm actually going to be playing Fallout 4 for a couple hours right after this cast. I'm sick and will probably be drinking alcohol to kill all the bad germs.
That's how
I'm
that
pretty
works.
sure that's how that works.
Yeah.
And yeah, hope to see you there. Twitch.tv/CohhCarnage, same under Twitter and YouTube. And that's about it. Thanks as always to the chat for watching and the other people here for the awesome show.
There you go. No show next week, so hopefully if you live in America, you'll be celebrating Thanksgiving. And then I think we should be back the next week.
Oh, we're not doing a show next week.
No. I'll be in San Francisco. I'm traveling from the 20th to the 29th. So I'll just be gone for like a long time, which really sucks. But I think the 2nd is when we'll have a show. So if Co might actually play another game by that time. We'll see. Probably not, though. You got 14 days. You think you could do it?
We'll have to see.
If you stream 10 hours a day, that's another 140 hours in Fallout.
Yeah, people have been telling me it was going to take months to do this. And it's like, I'm almost halfway done with the map.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see.
And it's been...
Oh, you have to get... you're going to unlock all those perks, right? And like all that.
I don't know if that's like I'm
if
just
you kill
now starting
everything
to do
in the game
and like estimate like how much. And dude, I don't know, man. It's gonna be rough. I'll have to see.
There you go.
You get a little worried about it. Yeah, I can tell.
We'll figure it all out when we get back, or at least Cole will figure it out. We'll have it figured out, and we'll talk about it when we get back on the 2nd. So we'll see
Join
you
us
guys
for
then.
Drop Frames Fallout Edition next Wednesday on my channel.
There you
Just
go.
me, though. Yeah,
Check them out.
We're probably just gonna be talking and playing Fallout.
Yeah, exactly.
Are
All
there
right.
any Thanksgiving-based games?
You just
I
found
thought
your new
Fallout
niche.
was a Thanksgiving-based game.
Game devs, listen up.
It makes you
think
feel
there's
thankful
any-
for what you have, okay? You're not in a
Thanksgiving
post-apocalyptic wasteland looking for your son who was kidnapped after your husband or wife was murdered. So it's very much a Thanksgiving game. You're thankful for your family.
I don't
Pretty
think
deep,
there's
man.
any Thanksgiving
There you go.
games.
Shut the fuck up, Ella.
I was looking for Thanksgiving games. I don't think they exist. But anyways, that's going to do it for Draft Frame 6. Everyone for coming. See you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye.